2025 marks 185 years of Cunard services, and it's a remarkable milestone for an organisation to have existed for so long, let alone operating the same transatlantic services for that long duration of time. Cunard in that period of time survived all sorts of threats, from pandemics to world wars to global conflicts to depressions, and of course the COVID-19 pandemic, which was taking place 5 years ago whilst we were trying to celebrate Cunard's 180th anniversary. And because this year is such a significant year in their history, Cunard is operating a number of very special voyages with their Cunard ships. The vessels are doing a series of voyages that will acknowledge 185 years of services. And there are two that are of particular interest. Firstly, you might have heard that Queen Anne will sail to Liverpool, Cunard's historic home, on the 27th of May 2025, where she'll be met by Princess Anne for a special ceremony to acknowledge 185 years of Cunard services. That first Cunard crossing on board Cunard's flagship Britannia departed Liverpool on the 4th of July 1840, so this event is taking place a little bit before that. However, Britannia was not the first Cunard ship. In fact, the first Cunard crossing was undertaken by a ship called the Unicorn, which set sail before Britannia across the Atlantic and arrived in both Boston and Halifax well before Britannia's maiden voyage. Now, this ship had been in service prior to the formation of the Cunard service and had been purchased by one of Cunard's founders to be used as a ship that would operate ferry services up the east coast of what is now Canada. But the company decided to send her across the Atlantic ahead of Britannia for a bit of a PR stunt to get the ship over there and to build interest in this new service. And so when a Unicorn arrived in both Boston and in Halifax, there was great interest amongst the public of this new transatlantic service that promised to offer regularity and reliability like which you had never seen before. So she became quite a famous ship in her own right, and although we don't really remember her that much these days, she is, of course, the first Cunard ship in the books to set sail for the company, the company that has since become Cunard Line, which, of course, back then was known as the British and North American Royal Mail Steam Packet Company, with Samuel Cunard as its most notable founder. However, the Queen Anne's voyage up to Liverpool will be significant because Liverpool was the first home of the Cunard Line in the United Kingdom, and that's from there that they operated their transatlantic services. It was quite unusual at the time for a shipping company to use Liverpool. Bristol had actually been one of the most prominent ports in the United Kingdom for those steamship services up until 1840 when Cunard started operating out of Liverpool. And of course we know many other shipping lines operated out of Liverpool since that period as well, including the White Star Line, which had headquarters there for some time as well. Now, in 1919, Cunard relocated its express service home port to Southampton. It actually followed White Star Line, which had done it some years before, and they started to operate their biggest ships out of Southampton, which had better railway connections with London. And it's here that we see another special event taking place for Cunard this year, and that is the Queen Mary II's 185th anniversary transatlantic crossing. Now, the transatlantic crossings that Queen Mary II undertakes sail from Southampton across to New York. She does it in about 7 days, though. If she was pushed at full speed, she could do it in 5, the same speed that QE2, Queen Mary, and of course Queen Elizabeth did before her. But Southampton is significant because it became Cunard's express line home port, and of course New York eventually superseded Boston as the main port for the company's United States services. So it's there that you see these great ships operating. It's New York and Southampton, where you saw liners like Aquitania and Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth, and of course QE2 sailing during her service career as well. Now, the 185th anniversary crossing will take place in June of 2025, so again a little bit before Britannia's maiden crossing, but well into the timeline that Unicorn set for Cunard when she did her first voyages. And I'll be speaking on board as a guest lecturer alongside Queen Mary II's designer, Dr. Stephen Payne, who's both an absolutely wonderful speaker but also a very good friend of mine. So it's going to be very exciting for the two of us to be on board the ship, offering the guest lecturing services and enrichment talks on board that very special crossing. Now, Queen Mary II, as you know, is the last great transatlantic liner in service today. She's the only ship that operates that direct point-to-point transatlantic crossing across the northern part of the North Atlantic Ocean, and she just continues a tradition that has been linked back all the way to 1840. In fact, with the exception of a very difficult time such as the global cruise shutdown during the pandemic, Cunard has maintained a continual presence on the North Atlantic throughout all those changes that have happened, and even in the face of the jet age, when jet aircraft eclipsed passenger ships in their ability to transport people quickly and efficiently across the Atlantic, Cunard was able to sort of hold on to the transatlantic service with their liner QE2, and then of course Queen Mary 2 continues that tradition today. So if you're going to be travelling on one of these special voyages, particularly the Queen Anne's voyage in just a few weeks' time, or if you'll be on Queen Mary 2, let us know in the comments below. What are you looking forward to most about this special 185th anniversary celebration on board Cunard? And what are some of your Cunard stories over the years? When was your first voyage? I mean, I've met people who did their first Cunard voyages on the original Cunard Queens. And also, of course, many people started on board other ships that aren't really talked about that much, such as the Cunard Countess or Cunard Princess or Vistafjord or Royal Viking Sun, and so many on the iconic QE2. So let us know your first Cunard experience in the comments below. Thanks once again for watching, and until next time, I hope to see you on board.